So, hey guys, and welcome to another Archetype of the Week on Sunday. Hope you had a good week so far, as always, and let's get into it. And this week's Archetype of the Week is Gravekeepers. Now, Gravekeepers are one of those decks that always sees at least one player YCS most of the time, and is one of those, like Samurais, like Elemental Heroes now, like Lightsworn. It's just one of those decks that can do really well, but does struggle sometimes. So it sees the now and then play and can usually get into, maybe one of them get into top 32, or at least some of them get high up, at least in like top 64 even, and stuff like that, and do pretty well, but just won't get into that kind of top 8 usually, and just won't win. But it does stay around and is still a very good archetype, and can still compete pretty well. It just does struggle against some of the meta decks. So let's get into it. Gravekeepers is an archetype of cards based on ancient Egyptians who guard the pharaoh's tomb. The monsters of this archetype are all spellcaster type and almost all dark attribute, with Gravekeeper's Commandant the only exception being an earth attribute. The Gravekeeper's deck usually revolves around Necro Valley or Necro Valley and gains power from it while using loopholes to avoid being affected by its drawbacks. The deck tends to prevent the opponent from affecting cards placed in the graveyard, as well as keeping field control with its ability to swarm. That's basically Gravekeepers. Gravekeepers are low-level monsters that can have huge attack using Necro Valley really well to control the opponent's graveyard and lock them down. A lot of decks in today's meta fear Necro Valley. If you're wondering why I'm pronouncing it Necro Valley, by the way, is because I'm kind of Gravekeeper's iTokyo Rob's channel, which I'll link in the bottom below, is kind of, he in my eyes at the moment is the king of Gravekeepers from over his decks. It's like his most start deck. His Gravekeepers are his thing. He's been playing them for ages, and he pronounces it Necro Valley, and I'm pretty sure he said that's how you pronounce it once, so I'm going to start pronouncing it Necro Valley, but you can tell me in the comments below if that's completely wrong, but I think it's Necro Valley now. Oh, sorry. So let's get into the actual monsters that you should be using in a Gravekeeper's deck, and the cards actually, not just monsters. So Necro Valley, number 1 card. Gravekeepers revolve around this card. All Gravekeeper monsters gain 500 attack and defense. Cards in either player's graveyard cannot be banished, negate any card effect, or remove a card in the graveyard other than itself to a different place. This wrecks meta decks. It wrecks nearly all meta decks. Possibly not Mermails, and possibly not Dino Rabbits, which is why they're not doing so well, Gravekeepers in the Mind, because they don't actually hurt those 2 decks as much. But other decks, it can just wreck them. Chaos Dragons, Lightsworn, it wrecks them. Zombies, it wrecks them. X-Sabers, it wrecks them. It just can wreck loads of decks, and it's what the Gravekeepers revolve around. The next card, which is very broken, is Royal Tribute. If you control a Necro Valley, both players discard any monsters in their hands. Simply, you draw into a Royal Tribute and a Necro Valley. You summon as many monsters as you can with your cards. Usually it's going to be 1, because Gravekeepers can't swarm, but you might have a Malefic, Stardust if you're using that, special summon that, then set another monster. You might have a few traps or spells, set all those, and then you've only got Necro Valley and you've got 1 Royal Tribute in your hand, and that's all you've got left. You play that first turn, you've just got rid of all their monsters, and they're basically, they can't come back from that. They can after a while, but you're playing 2, so you can play it twice. It's such a broken card. Asian Eyes White Dragon went on about this on Mickey Vlog's channel, I think, about how broken this was. And it is pretty broken, but like, it's only for Gravekeepers, so it's one of their main things that makes them competitive, so they kind of need to keep it. But it's such a good card, and even with Dark Worlds, if you've got Necro Valley on the field, even though you're discarding all your opponent's monsters, obviously they won't be able to use Beige or anything. Well, they won't be able to special summon. They might get a few effects out there, but they won't get loads. So even Dark Worlds, even though it isn't the best card to play against, won't always be plussing loads off it. So next you need Gravekeeper's Commandant, you need Gravekeeper's Descendant, you need Gravekeeper's Spy, and you need Gravekeeper's Recruiter. Those are the 4 monsters that must be in your Gravekeeper's deck, really. Commandant searches out Necro Valley. It's on the main cards of the deck and can be a 2100 beta if you bring it on the field with Necro Valley. Really nice card. Gravekeeper's Descendant just blows up those big monsters, which this deck can struggle with sometimes, and just gets rid of those big monsters. And again, it's a 2000 attack point beater. Gravekeeper's Spy, it's a 2500 point defense point monster, which not even Dolka or Lagio can get over, or Mega Abysso can run over that. And you get to special summon another Gravekeepers from your deck, and then overlay or go for a synchro next turn with some, if you have some tuners in your deck and stuff like that. Next, Recruiter searches out nearly the entire deck apart from Spy and just adds it to your hand. You might need to add a Commandant to search out a Necro Valley, you might need a Descendant just to pop a few monsters. Really handy, and it's when this card you control is set to go over, so it's like Sangan. It can be torrential, it can be anything like that, and you still get its effect. So it's really nice. It's a bit like Witch of the Black Forest, basically just for Gravekeepers. So let's carry on with a bit of the Gravekeepers down here on the strategy side. Basically, Necro Valley is what you need. You get Necro Valley, and that's what you want to be protecting. You can use it for a variety of ways you can try and protect it, but the biggest way probably is Malefic Stardust Dragon, which a few Gravekeepers play. And you just protect that card, and then you bring out these low level 4 monsters because they're easily summoned, and just use their effects to bring out some XYZs if you want to go for that variant. Just pop loads of monsters with Descendant, use Recruiters to search out your entire deck, and Royal Tributes to lock down your opponent. So that is the main way you can do it. You can use Gravekeeper's Steel, which means you get to add 2 Gravekeepers from your graveyard to your hand, and you can just keep doing this around, and it's your opponent's graveyard is locked out, so they do struggle, and they can't summon like Pulsars and stuff like that via banishing, so it can really hurt, and they can't summon the mighty Blackluster Envoy at the beginning because you have to banish. Here are some recommended cards. They're all pretty simple. Book of Moons are really nice in this deck. Pot of Dualities are really nice in this deck. Malefic Stardust Dragon is a personal choice. Some people like it, some people don't. Deck Devastation Virus is also a personal choice. Some people try and put it in there. I don't personally. It does work. And there's just some recommended cards for you guys. Strengths and weaknesses. Basically, the biggest strength is Necro Valley. It stops, look there, Insectors, Blackwings, Dragons, X-Savers, Infernities, and Zombies, and etc. So it goes on and on and on. They can also swarm the field with Spies and get all those cards in the Recruiter, and with Descendant just pop monsters like hell. And it's not even monsters, it's just cards they can pop like hell. But the problem with it is there's a tense variety on Necro Valley. So if you don't have the Malefic Stardust Dragon out, then you're going to just be spell destroyed. Dark Worlds destroy you in the sense that they'll just side in spell destruction. Most decks will just start side in their spell destruction. Because most people side in a lot of huge spell destruction just to stop those Exodia and Chainburn decks, and this again is weak against that as well. So you can just pop the Necro Valley and that's it, and the deck does struggle. It can still compete, and if Gravekeepers right, are, I think, an amazing starter deck. If you want to start off in Yugioh and you want a nice strong deck that can compete well, start off with Gravekeepers. Then with Gravekeepers you learn to work with them, learn how they play, and then learn how to work around Necro Valley not being out there. And that comes with experience. Basically, it comes all with experience. Gravekeepers are a deck that is quite nice to new beginners, and then is really nice to people who know how to play it. Of course, there's Shadow Imprisoning Mirror and Mind Control and stuff, but people have stopped really playing those, so you don't have to worry too much. It does struggle get a bit against Frog Monarchs in the sense that you can stop such cards like Treebond Flog won't be stopped by Necro Valley, so it does struggle in that sense. Some decks still play Monster Reincarnation like Lightstorm and stuff, so you can't actually stop. Actually, you can stop Monster Reincarnation now I think about it. Yeah, you can stop Necro. Yeah, scrap that. But it can struggle against a few cards. But as they say, they have Royal Tribute and it can just wreck so many decks. Here's a few optional supports. Gravekeeper's Guard and Priestess. Guard I'd say is a nice tech card, but I prefer I prefer Assailant. It's a really nice card. You can just put those big monsters in defense and run over them. Wonder Wand if you really want draw power, but card D works probably a little bit better than Wonder Wand. And some monks, if you're going for the XYZ variant, and Tsukiyomi, can recycle stuff like that. But yeah, Gravekeepers, guys, what do you think about them? I really like Gravekeepers. I've always really liked Gravekeepers. They're one of the original archetypes. I think one of the first archetypes, actually. But they're really powerful when used correctly, and they're really nice to beginners. So if you're a beginner in Yu-Gi-Oh, try out Gravekeepers, because I think they can work. They got simple plays, not too confusing effects, and plays that will get better with experience. Gravekeepers are really good with experienced players, and they're really good for newish players for different reasons, but they work for both. So really try these out, guys. They're really cheap as well, Gravekeepers. You can get them pretty cheap. So yeah, what do you think about Gravekeepers, guys? Got any memories? Got any bad things about them? Got any likes about them? Wish they got some more support? Issues with them? Played any YCSs with them? Played any tournaments with them? What do you think about them? So that's been Gravekeepers, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this Archetype of the week. I really like Gravekeepers and hope you enjoy them too. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this video and see you around. Cheers.